On the way back, Country Picker, and this is Honey back here on the drum set. I'd like to do a few numbers for you. I was born in November of 1964, which makes me a Sagittarius, the most philosophical of all signs. Grew up in the 1970s when everyone seemed to be on the same page because we all had the same media outlets, the same one TV channel. We had the same heroes. We had people like Evel Knievel, who would fearlessly attempt any jump. Had people like Muhammad Ali, who could whip anybody who was foolish enough to step into the ring with him. We had heroes like Farrah Fawcett Majors. You know why we worship Farrah Fawcett Majors. My dad said that's cute, but if you're going to have heroes, you should probably look into somebody with a little more substance, somebody like a man named John Glenn from the great state of Ohio. John Glenn was asked to do some dangerous stuff to make the world a better place, and he did it. So I wanted to write a song in tribute to Mr. Glenn, coupled with the fact that 4 years ago I was in Atlanta, Georgia at the Driving and Crying rock and roll concert. And there was a girl in the front row of the show that probably had a little too much to drink, and every now and then she would just turn around and look at the crowd and she would scream, "Amen, John Glenn!" And she'd turn back around. A few minutes later, she'd look at the crowd and scream the same thing. I had no idea what that meant, but I knew it was a great phrase, and I went home and Googled it. It didn't belong to anybody or anything, so I wrote this song I'd like to do for you called Amen, John Glenn. Old John Glenn wasn't scared to die, went to space and back and he didn't bat an eye. Had the right stuff but he never asked why. Amen, John Glenn, you're the best to ever fly. Old Johnny Bench could really play some ball, learned it from the boys down in Arkansas. Swinging for the fence, man, I never seen him fall. And alive, number 5, you're the greatest of them all. These boys were the best around. They all did the thing you can't tear down. We should all do a thing that you can't tear down. Old Hunter Thompson could really tell a tale. Rode with the Angels, but he didn't go to jail. Hammered on Nixon, man, he really gave him hell. You're the best, Hunter S. You served your country well. Well, these boys were the best around. They all did the thing you can't tear down. We should all do a thing that you can't tear. Old John Glenn, he wasn't scared to die. Went to space and back and he didn't bat an eye. Had the right stuff but he never asked why. Amen, John Glenn, you're the best I ever fly. The best I ever. My mom and dad are both musicians, or they were. They were both bluegrass players. My dad played a little bit of electric guitar. My dad played a lot of different instruments, so I was just raised in a home full of instruments, and they were all playing, and it didn't take me long to jump in. My dad bought me this little plastic 4-string banjo just to see if I had any interest, and it wasn't something expensive I could break. And once I proved that I was in, then it was guitar, and he got me a lot of little 6-strings, and that's what I started on. I grew up in a very rural community in the 1960s, and we didn't really have phone service. We did have power, thank goodness. But when they brought the phone service out to us, they hooked us all on the same line, which gave us the ability to maybe listen in on our neighbors sometimes, because our phone would give us just a hint that someone else was getting a phone call maybe 3 miles down the road. And not that we ever picked up and listened in, but we picked up and listened in. Here's a song called Party Line. Yeah, it's a bizarre story. I was touring with Rob McNerlin and gang out west, and we were coming through Texas, and this had been probably 10 years ago, and it was on the 4th of July, I think in Niederwall, Texas. And we'd played a gig, and it was late at night, and people were shooting fireworks off and doing things that people in Texas do on the 4th of July. And my wife, Honey, took a photograph of me. And I had on his hat and his green glasses, and it was midnight, and people were trying to kill us with bottle rockets. And it was just a bizarre-looking photo. We saw it the next day and said, wow, that's really an interesting picture. That looks like the laid-back country picker, because we were really into whaling. We love whaling. And we just made jokes for years and years about that being the laid-back country picker. And my daughter said, we should put that on a shirt, because that's really bizarre. And we did put it on a shirt. And my friend and former student Tyler Childers saw it, and so he started wearing that shirt, and all of a sudden other people wanted to wear it, and I was selling tons of them. I thought, well, we need to create an album and a character to go along with the shirt, and really the shirt came first. And so we did a couple of records, and here we are right now. You know, I'm very fortunate to have Honey back here on the drum set, but this is not her first go around in show business. When I met her, she was doing voiceovers for Charlie Chaplin. Actually, I met her at the silent auction. Truthfully, she was working at Hooters when I met her at the drive-through window. Because I always get my food to go at Hooters. I wrote this song many years ago because I'm a fan of the Ford Crown Victoria, the car that police officers around the world would use to arrest bad guys. When I bought this car, my friend said, you have a McGoffin County Cadillac. I didn't really know what that meant, but I looked it up. And the friends in our neighboring county, McGoffin County, they're all good union boys, and they're millwrights and carpenters and pipe fitters and mechanics, electricians. And they would buy those used police cars at the auction so they could drive back and forth to work to their job sites because they had to travel great distances to work. And they could take their friends to work with them, so it just made sense to use those cars. But they're great automobiles. They go super fast. You can put a lot of people in the back, and their fuel economy is a little better than what you'd think. But most importantly, out on the front is the chrome spotlight. And the chrome spotlight is your free pass to do things that normally you couldn't do, like make U-turns where you shouldn't go, maybe exceed the speed limit by, 15, 20 miles an hour. And when you do pass a peace officer in one of those cars, they just look at you and go, because you've got the chrome spotlight. So I wrote this song about the McGoffin County Cadillac. It's not only about the car, but it's about the great people that drive them. I'd like to do it for you right now. Foreign cars about to blow. There's no place that you can go. Police auction Friday night. And listen, boys, I steer you right. Crown Vic, sleep maintained. Your life will never be the same. Once you're in, you can't go back. McGoffin County Cadillac. That's right, honey, keeping them roads hot. You don't have to wear a shirt to haul a bunch of boys to work. Flash the chrome of the spotlights. The doing wrong start doing right. On this road you are the king. 55 don't mean a thing. Once you're in, you can't go back. Coffin County Cadillac 651, yeah. Black Airplane down Sandy Hook. West Liberty was all it took. Jackson and Rabbit Town, Boonville tried to shut me down. Ain't no need to try to ground me. Meet the king of Estill County. McGoffin County Cadillac. McGoffin County Cadillac. Yep. I'm looking for an idea that I want to convey to people. I see something out in the world that I think is quirky or funny, or I think maybe I have an insight onto something that someone else hasn't really picked up on. And then I search my head for a melody that matches up with that idea, and you try to pair the two. And sometimes you get it just perfect, and then sometimes it makes sense to you but no one else. You know, in my head, I hear a lot of, I'm a child of the 70s, so bands like AC/DC in the 70s, Aerosmith, that's how I want to write. That's what I hear in my heart. But then I think, well, you don't sing like Bon Scott or Steven Tyler, so it has to have my vocal over top of it. And there was a point in time where I wasn't very comfortable with that, and I thought people with a hick accent shouldn't be singing rock and roll. But I've tempered a little bit as the years went on. I've got a brand new album out. It's my third record as Laid Back Country Picker. It's called Go West. And, you know, I've done an album, which my first record is kind of an in-between. It's kind of a raw country sound album. My second record, Tyler sent me to Nashville, and I had like top of the line studio players from Nashville play on it. So it's a real country record. This is a 70s rock record. There's two guitars, one on the left channel, one on the right channel, and it's that kind of record. And it is so much fun. And I mean, I'm still Laid Back Country Picker. I'm still playing good country music. It's just the guitars are just a little bit louder and maybe panned left and right. I'm going to play this song on this guitar. This is a 1959 Montgomery Ward's Town and Country. Montgomery Ward sold these guitars through the mail order, so I can imagine that some little boy probably woke up maybe about the Christmas of 1960 and this was under the tree. And he got it out and he probably learned some songs, because probably not long after that he saw the Beatles come on Ed Sullivan, and he may have played Love Me Do on his guitar. And then pretty soon the Stones came out, and maybe he was playing Have You Seen Your Mother, Baby, Standing in the Shadows, or Satisfaction. And he started hanging out with maybe the people his mom and dad told him not to hang out with. And their hair got a little bit longer, and they were doing some more questionable things, and they started to question the government. And the next thing you know, he was a radical. Or maybe none of that happened. And maybe some guy got this guitar and played Wildwood Flower on it. We'll never know. But I got it right now, and I'd like to play a song for you I wrote called LB's Truth. And don't you ever forget it. When old James Brown rolled into town, he brought the funkiest sound and everybody got down. The Stanley Bros went nose to nose. They played 1,000,000 shows and kept them on their toes. Go! Jimmy H took me to that place up in outer space. I still see his face. The motorhead put them all to bed, but like Lemmy said, they're all dead.
You should be playing music for yourself, and I know that sounds selfish, but it's a hard road, and financially it's not worth it for many people. But if it's your art and that's just what you feel like you need to do, then stay with it and do it for yourself. Well said.